Hey guys, welcome to Yahoo Movies on Facebook Live. We have a very special guest with us today. He is the star of the new film, The Promise, Mr. Christian Bale. Christian, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. I'm very excited to talk to you about this film. We're excited to take your questions live on Facebook. We apologize for the delay. We know that you have those questions already, but if you want to at any point over the next 20 minutes, you can sub them into the comment section, and we will get to as many as we can. As always, keep those comments, questions fresh, clean, so fresh and so clean. Let's talk about The Promise. Congrats on this movie. I was just telling you how much I enjoyed it. This is it's a historical romantic drama set during the fall of the Ottoman Empire, and sort of in the early stages of World War I, and follows the sort of the onset of what is ultimately the Armenian genocide through the eyes of Oscar Isaac's character. You play a photojournalist from the Associated Press who is doing his part to sort of expose these crimes to the U.S. and to the rest of the world. Tell us what hooked you in about this project.
Well, sort of embarrassingly, I didn't know about the Armenian genocide. Mm-hmm. And there might be a lot of people who are in the same boat as I was. But it's incredibly important, pivotal moment in history, because the fact that it went really without any consequences, will be said as a reason why we've had so many genocides since, Ukraine in the 30s, and the Holocaust in Cambodia, and then the thing when I was reading the script, it was leading up to at that time the 100th anniversary. 2015, and so people were becoming more enlightened about the Armenian genocide. But I was watching the news, and it was that time when the poor Yazidis were trapped on a mountain, and they were being slaughtered by ISIS. And this film has a historically accurate part where the Armenians are trapped on the mountain. It was dark, and they're being slaughtered. And I couldn't help but look at that and see the correlation. It was a crazily barbaric treatment, very vicious and very vindictive way that so many people were killed. It just seemed like really tragically relevant. And then also, the character that I was being asked to play, an Associated Press journalist, just how essential it is to have a good press, because otherwise people do not know about it, and that's something that's become really sadly again topical,
right,
in our current climate, where this what people call post-truth era, and fake news and claims of fake news and all that kind of stuff. Just how important it is to have a respected, trusted press for any sort of democracy.
Yeah, I mean there are all sorts of elements to this story that ring true today in contemporary times. I mean, one of those you talked about as all these Armenians were basically trapped around this mountain. Before they were in that situation, they actually mentioned the fact that they want to. Their goal is to escape into Aleppo, which is crazy. I mean, it's just like a reversal of fortunes. And now people are attempting to escape out of Syria into Turkey, which was the Ottoman Empire.
The desert around Aleppo is full of bones. There were these forced deportations. That's what they were called, but they were really death marches, which resulted in just hundreds of thousands of deaths. And that was very largely, a lot of them were headed to Aleppo and then put into camps where they were just actually left to die. And so, like you're saying, it's resonant with all the refugee crisis that is happening right now, and the various genocides that have happened since the Armenian genocide.
Yeah, I mean,
this was actually, there was not a word for genocide before
at the time,
the
right?
Armenian genocide.
It's one of those stories that it's so devastating and so powerful it makes you, it makes you. My wife and I were having this conversation last night. It makes you question humanity. It makes you say, how is our species, how are human beings capable of this sort of reprehensible violence, this inhumane.
But whenever you get that kind of behaviour, you tend to also get incredible altruism as well that goes along with it, and it's something that was really important in America at the time. It was one of the first international relief movements of its time. The Armenian genocide was reported on in the US newspapers, an awful lot. You had the likes of the child actor Jackie Coogan going on national tours trying to get people rallying behind it, and if with inflation it would have been billions of dollars were sent. The American public really felt for and had compassion for the Armenian people. But then, and many people don't even know about that anymore. It was a wonderful time in American history in terms of philanthropy, but people really don't know about it whatsoever. And then at the end of the war, what happened was you got Ataturk, who came into power, who hadn't had anything to do with the genocide, as far as I know. And remember, I'm a visitor to this. I've done a couple of years of research, but there are people who know far more than I do. But to my knowledge, he had no. And then sort of there was the enormous wealth and resources of the old Ottoman Empire, and other countries were offered a bit of that, a piece of that cake, a slice of the cake, but in return for turning a blind eye to everything that had happened. Right.
Well, I mean, you talked about the compassion of Americans, and a lot of heroics will emerge too. I mean, your character Chris Myers,
with his absinthe, and you can imagine that he's probably done everything under the sun, and he's somewhat cynical and jaded. He's arrogant. He's fiercely intelligent, very bright on many occasions, but not exactly always the most likable of people. But he has a change of heart, because he's there very much because of his relationship with an Armenian woman. And then he finds that he just cannot continue with his journalistic ethic of sort of remaining aloof and an observer, and he actually is forced to become, or compelled rather, to become a participant in the story.
Does a role like Chris Myers, does that affect or alter your own perception of the media? Did that change at all? Do you feel like as someone who's covered by the media, do you feel like you have a good relationship with the press?
Well, I mean, I'm covered by a very different kind of media.
Right, they're not exactly on the ground during the war.
The war journalists, but I did take a look at Tim Hetherington and other wartime journalists. Tim obviously paid the ultimate price for what he does. But it doesn't change my attitude, and I always knew it's absolutely essential. People do not know what is happening unless there is a trusted press around, and that's a line that is said in the film. You get the one Armenian character, Oscar's character, saying to him, "It must be very nice to be able to report on something and then return to your home in the comfort of your home." And then in response, Chris says, "Yeah, but without the press, nobody would know anything that was happening here." So it didn't take me doing this film to know that.
Sure. The film reminded me of a great film from about 10 years ago, which also dealt with genocide, called Hotel Rwanda, and of course that is no coincidence. These films share a director in Terry George. Did coming onto the project with Mr. George make you feel a little bit more comfort knowing that he sort of has the sensibilities to handle these type of delicate issues?
Well, Terry has a really fascinating background, and he's a very funny man. He spent time in the Maze prison and wrote a play about it. And I remember growing up, I would see all graffiti all about H Block and everything, which is a part of that. And then to me, Terry was inside and hear his stories. And he was very well informed about the Armenian genocide. And he's very much someone who is politically minded and very altruistic.
There is also, and by the way, Terry George also wrote one of my favorite movies of all time, In the Name of the Father. Yeah. Excellent movie. If you haven't seen that, please check it out. Yes, yes.
Some other son as well.
Right, right. And of course, there is a tinge of romance in this film. There's a love triangle involving Charlotte LeBon and Mr. Oscar Isaac, who's obviously just kind of been blowing up all over the place recently with films like Llewyn Davis and Ex Machina, a little film called Star Wars. Tell us your impression of working with Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, he's the lead, and I got interested before he was involved, but I jumped on the phone with him and said, "Come on, mate, let's go do this," and that was really, in my mind, when I really absolutely got involved, is when I knew Oscar would be on board, because I think he's one of the best actors, around of our generation right now. And I kind of feel like he's a proper actor. I mean, he loves it. He loves what he does. It's like he could tell you way more about acting than I ever could.
Oh yeah. We're gonna see what you guys are talking about on Facebook Live right now. Let's see. This first question is from Brian. Hasn't seen Promise yet. Well, it's not out yet. April 21st. But the historical sweep of it reminds me of Empire of the Sun. Did you feel like those two films had themes in common?
Well, I've had, we've been doing a day of interviews, and I've had a few people mention that. So, hello there, Brian. Wartime setting, but primarily for me personally, it was because we shot both films in Spain, and both of them had a lot of resources and lots of incredible locations and production design as well. So I was reminded of it whilst I was there.
This next one is from Esther. Before you read the script for The Promise, did you have any idea of the plight of Armenians at the time?
No. It's embarrassing to say so, but no, I didn't. And it's kind of stunning, I mean, I didn't go to school half the time. I wasn't very attentive at all, but so maybe I was taught it and I just didn't realise I wasn't listening. But I was stunned to hear about it and realise I knew nothing about it. So just wanted to do as much research about it as I could.
This next one, I apologize if I butcher your name, is from Bartavar. He says, Christian, I want to thank you on behalf of Armenians for standing with us in making this movie. It is such an honor to have you play a part, and we are grateful. He wants to know, how did the movie affect you personally, and when did you become aware of the genocide?
Well, thank you very much, first of all. And, some of the things that affected me, I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to meet any of the survivors, but I did see documentaries with them, and to see the pain of these people who have had to deal with people claiming that their stories of their families' horrific deaths were not true. That was heartbreaking, and it was the script that first brought me awareness, and then after that, going to meet him with there's a lady, Carla Garapini, she's a documentary filmmaker and somebody who's got just encyclopedic knowledge of Armenian genocide, and the producer Eric Israeli and various other people involved in the project, and they informed me and gave me the books and gave me the films to watch, etc.
Well, I know. Let's see. We talked about Empire of the Sun. We're gonna go a little further back than that. This next question is from Carrie. How often do people come up to you and ask about Newsies?
No, Newsies is not as far back as Empire of the Sun.
Oh, you're right. Yes, Empire was '80s. Newsies was. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. Never.
Never.
I mean, very occasionally I'll get someone who comes up and goes, "Oh, it's my favourite film," and they'll sing a song or something like that, and I look at them, or they'll say a line, and I go, "I don't know what you're talking about." They go, "You said it." Oh, okay. Well, they get that a lot. I've got the memory of a goldfish, so I forget the films that I've done, the lines that are in them. But that one seems, people either just sort of laugh at it and it's a punchline, or it's one of their favourite films. Yeah.
One more question here. This is from Mitchell. What is one thing you miss about playing Batman?
Taking the cowl off. That was such a wonderful feeling at the end of each day.
Just the relief of it.
Yeah.
Of the end of the day. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here live. Thank you guys for all your questions. Thanks for checking out Yahoo Movies on Facebook Live, and check out The Promise in theaters soon. Thanks, Christian.
Cheers.